What's going on? Welcome into Nerd Sports Zone with John and Mike. We got the two originals back. We got the one and only John Mason with us back in the flesh. We're gonna have a really fun discussion today, guys. Welcome in. So some of the subjects that we're gonna be covering this week is gonna be playoff locks or knots in your stomach. The Chargers and the Vikings, the COVID and how it's impacting fantasy rosters. And just NFL rosters in general right now. We're going to be having a couple fun subjects in between here and there with Monday Night Football. Which do you prefer, Monday Night Football, or do you prefer the Manning Cast? What do you like to watch? Why do you like to watch it? The Patriots and their 7-game win streak that they got going on, and the way that Mac Jones is playing. Is it good or bad? And then also running back issues continue to go on in the league. Players are getting healthy for these deep playoff runs for their teams, but not just their teams, but their fantasy rosters that they're on as well. And then some great content that's coming out for you guys to watch in the meantime when you're not watching football, between HBO Hard Knocks and also The Man in the Arena. I haven't gotten a chance to watch too much of that, but John's been watching it. So when we get to the end, John's gonna talk a little bit about that and what it's about and how interesting it is. And then we also have we have the Tyron Woodley fight versus Jake Paul #2 because Tommy Fury backed out. And we've said a few times that we're going to kind of dive into the world of combat sports every once in a while because we do have experience watching those in the past. It's just we and John haven't done a whole lot of watching that together. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring John in. Hey, he's back.
Yo.
He's back.
What's up? I'm back. Shout out to Rum Boys Robbie. Thank you for joining us last week. Sorry to join you guys.
We miss you.
Wish I was there. Hey, thank you for having me back.
We miss you. What do you mean having you back? This is your place, man. You live here. You own it.
Back. I'm back, ladies and gents. Took 1 week. Too long.
So for those of you guys who don't know, I am kind of fighting like a cough or like a sore throat. So I'm going to be having some cough drops and some fluids. So I'm going to get my piece of conversation out as short and sweet as I can. And then John's going to be carrying a lot of the conversation for most of it. So
do what I can.
I'll be in it, but you're going to be hearing a lot of John today just because my voice kind of goes in and out. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. So obviously you missed a week or a couple weeks. We've been busy, haven't had a chance to really catch up. Fill us in on how your fantasy year has been the past 3 weeks, where you're at. I mean, you got a bit of a chip on your shoulder that you want to tell the world. You want to tell the listeners. So I'm going to let you take over. So go ahead.
All right. So first off, we're doing great. Fantasy football playoffs. We're here. 5 out of 5 leagues playoff berths in all of them. Some of them I got a bye week locked in. It's probably one of the most productive fantasy football seasons yet. So if you've been tuning in with us, if you've been asking us questions, I can probably imagine the team's doing pretty well. But let's see. We'll get started with the league that both Mike and I are in. We're gonna go with the Dynasty League. It's a heavy league where the winner you have to win twice before you can take home the pot. Well, we're gonna jump into that one. A bunch of big names in there. A bunch of big names, heavy hitters. These guys definitely know their football. Our boy Havoc is also in there. Let's see. So we'll get started. I'll recap with Nerds game. Let's see.
I can cover it if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Cover your. Do you want to cover like your last week?
Yeah, sure.
Let's go.
So, looking at my lineup from last week, I had Barrett in the Streamer League, which is, I mean, I'm basically out of playoff contention. Regardless, it doesn't matter. I'm not a person that tanks, so I'm not gonna give anyone the satisfaction of just giving them a dub. So I'll play Mr. Spoiler at this point. But going back to last week, it left me with a 5-8 record. Barrett's sitting in third place at 8-5. The matchup was not the Stream League. This actually did matter. This was the Losers League, and I played Barrett last week, and I walked away with a win at 7-6. Barrett is 4-9. He has a really good team too, so I mean I'm not really sure how that record's correlating, but my team consisted of Matt Stafford versus Dak Prescott, Antonio Gibson versus Ezekiel Elliott, Matt Breida versus Josh Jacobs, Mike Evans versus Deontay Johnson, Damian Harris versus Devonta Smith, Deontay Harris versus Devonta Smith. My mistake on that. There's a whole lot of Harrises going on in fantasy football right now.
There is.
I got Kendrick Bourne going up against Jacoby Myers, which was a whole lot of nothing that game. zero receptions and 0 yards. And then we had DeAndre Hopkins going off against Darrell Henderson. And then our defenses were Dallas and the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Folk, and Brandon McManus. Obviously, we have some bench players. So I won that week. That's left me in a spot where I'm now officially secured into the playoffs.
Let's go.
In the Losers League.
Let's go.
So I'm happy with that. I'm thrilled about that. I know I'm going to be in the Deadlight League. I'm 100% in the Losers League. I'm not in Dynasty Junior. I am not in the Streamer League this year, so I wish good luck to anybody who's in the playoffs in those two leagues. I'm fighting to stay in the Yahoo League, and then in the Big Boy League, I'm locked in. So that's where I'm at playoff-wise. Damn, Sauce, that camera quality.
What happened?
I don't know. That's what Papa Squat said.
Oh.
I think it's crisp. So that's where I'm at with my playoffs. I'm probably going to make 4 playoff berths out of 6 leagues, which I'm very happy with. John, you said you made 5 out of 5?
5 out of 5 playoffs. I don't got to talk about all of them, but I'm talking about the ones we're involved in.
Go for it.
So this week, I mean, I'm sitting in the Losers League right now. I'm sitting at 11-2, first in the West Division. Proud to represent the West. This week I'm going up against Grogus Gronkowski's. Yours truly. That's I got you this week.
That's me.
So right now, I'll be honest. You're gonna run into a buzzsaw. This week, this team's loaded. I can't front. I can't lie about it. Justin Herbert. I got Justin Herbert at my quarterback. He's going up against the New York Giants. Don't want to talk about it.
Keep going.
You got Austin Eckler going up against the New York Giants.
Oh, God.
I have Saquon Barkley going up against the LA Chargers. The Chargers can't stop a nosebleed right now. It comes to
I'm not very scared of Saquon. I'm not going to lie to you.
I wouldn't. He's about a 12 points is like his average
8.
right now. 8?
8.
Yeah, 8. All right.
He's a
I got
softie this year.
CeeDee Lamb at Washington.
CD at Washington. That's a division game.
That's a division game. Anything can happen.
Yep.
I got Cooper Kupp at Arizona, a division game. Tough match. Darnell Mooney at as my third wide receiver at Green Bay.
You're rolling with Darnell, huh?
For now, it could switch. It could switch. That's my weak point in that league is I don't have a solid third wide receiver.
Right.
I have Pat Freiermuth at the tight end position. He's a rookie sensation. I think
he's doing good.
I think he's having a better year than Kyle Pitts. That's the steal of the draft. Pat Freiermuth is steal at tight end.
I don't think you're wrong on that.
Cortland Sutton, that's my flex at Detroit. I'll play it. I'm gonna play it at Detroit. Chargers defense against Mike Glennon. I'm gonna take that.
Oof, yeah.
Tyler Bass at Tampa Bay. If you can't score, you got to kick.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills can't score for the life of them. It seems like
it's a heavy hitting team. I'm lucky to have them. Proud to represent the West. No easy feat though. I am going up against you, another loaded team.
Why don't you read my team off?
Let's go. Home runs. You got Matthew Stafford. He's having a great season. At Arizona, division game though.
Ooh, yeah.
Antonio Gibson at Dallas.
He'll have a good game.
Not easy. Not easy. I have shares of Gibson. Not an easy feat, Dallas.
I think Gibson's gonna have a good game.
Okay, I like the confidence. This makes me feel good too. Tevin Coleman at New Orleans. What do you think?
Well, that might change. I might have to make some adjustments there.
We might have to make some adjustments.
Because randomly, on Wednesday, if you're a Tevin Coleman owner, he's in concussion protocol. Neat. Go on.
See, your next best, you got Mike Evans at Buffalo.
I like that.
You like that matchup?
I do like that one.
Okay. Russell Gage at Carolina. Jeremy Chin, you think take out Jeremy Chin?
I'm feeling it. I looked at Russell Gage's numbers and I think he's at a place of consistency right now where if they're gonna run the ball with Cordell and then they're gonna throw to him. So that's kind of what it seems like their plan is.
I like the confidence. DeAndre Carter at Dallas. No way. There's no way you're confident in that.
I am confident in him, and I'll tell you why.
No way.
He's a smokescreen. He's a smokescreen. That's what I like to call certain players. He's a smokescreen. Here's why he's a smokescreen, because he hits you when you least expect it, right? And this is why. When you get a player like DeAndre Carter or sometimes Cordell Patterson, kind of what he used to be, they can have a game that's worth 16 points, right?
And Logan Thomas just went down.
But the whole reason why they can have that game is because maybe they're not a wide receiver, right? But maybe they're a wide receiver / punt returner, and that's what DeAndre Carter is. So he gets pretty much every punt return, and then he'll probably run it back 20 yards each time.
Man,
so then
Run boy Robbie been talking to you.
So that's where that guy, he's a smokescreen. It shows projected 3, but if you look at his numbers, he's finished a lot of weeks with 14, 15, 16 points.
Then you got Mark Andrews at Cleveland, which I like that matchup all day. I'll take that matchup. Not scared. Mark Andrews is solid.
And it's a division game too.
Exactly. DeAndre Hopkins at the LA Rams.
He played well last week.
And you get Kyler Murray's back, and that's a lot of people you got to cover on Arizona. Jalen Ramsey can't cover them all.
Nope. D-Hop's going to get open. D-Hop's always open. That's just the way D-Hop works.
Okay, so you got Cowboys defense. They're having a really good season right now. But what's your take on Antonio Gibson going up against your defense? You maybe switch that up?
I don't think with defensive and IDP leagues, I don't think you need to worry about that as much as people think.
Okay.
I think that Gibson, he's their back. That's who they're going to use. That's who they're using right now, and he's playing healthy football right now. And when he's healthy, he's been very good. So I'm not too concerned with playing Gibson. Actually, I like I like where I'm at with that.
Don't worry, I'm doing the same thing. I got Saquon against the Chargers.
That's honestly like where I'm at with it. So I'm happy with it. I don't think there's much that needs to change. I mean, if you're gonna be worried about the defense, I think I would be more worried about like the passing game more than anything. But
then Greg Joseph, Minnesota.
Yeah, that was a decision I didn't want to make, but I needed a kicker, so
You got to ride with your own.
kickers are a dime a dozen, and all the good ones that I really wanted are on bye week. So
Hey, but you're in the playoffs, right? Playoffs coming up for this league.
yeah, so
we'll
make some moves. We'll make some moves after this week and get some guys back.
Loaded.
I'm not too worried about it. Speaking of playoffs, you can see that nice little image up there that I snagged. You know, playoffs. Are you kidding me? We gotta. That's the situation I'm in my Yahoo League right now. Is we got a 3-way tie for second, third, and fourth place, and then you know, we're all 2 games behind the person first, and then coming up in like 5th and 6th, they'll have to look up. I think they're a game behind us, so it's really tight in the Yahoo League, and I need to get a win in that league. But I'm pretty much decimated at running back in that league right now, and it's not getting better because of Tevin Coleman. Myles Gaskin's on bye week, and then I was rolling with.
Your take on Myles Gaskin, real quick.
Myles Gaskin's efficient. I think he's enough to get you some points. But
Is he dynasty? Is he something you want to keep every year?
maybe just like for now, and then like gauge out. Like he's not the worst back. There's worse backs out there.
There's worse backs out there. You're better with him than without.
Correct. So I think you're better with him than without at his total situation right now. But that's where I would be with it.
Boy is unreliable in my opinion. I'm riding him in a couple of shares. I'm just like, every week. It's like, Miles, why are you doing this to me? You just crossed the line.
I know, just like it's right there, man. Like you just gotta just make a hole.
We love to have him though. We love to have him.
Speaking of making a hole, I did make a hole in whoever I played last week, points wise. It was really bad. It was Callisto put in the chat. Did Mike tell you that he scored a record 175 points in the Deadlight League? The previous record was 148. I felt good about it. All I did was get lucky. I had like 3 or 4 players go off for 30-point weeks. And I even, there's some guys I didn't get the opportunity to start that were on my bench that I didn't think would do that great. And they did. So that was kind of sad, but it could have been worse than what it was. But it was a fun week. I was happy to get that high score output, lock my playoff spot. So I'm happy with it. Let's talk about what we may be happy with or not happy with, though. And so we've talked about our rosters, our playoff berths and all that stuff. Let's talk about our teams, whether we're happy with them or whether we're not happy with them and why. I'm going to go ahead and just get mine right out of the way because this was a big week. For this last week was a big matchup for the Vikings. And lots of just poor decisions were made watching this game by Mike Zimmer. We got decimated by an 0-10 team to start the first half of the game. And then you get back into the game. Kirk Cousins does what he's been doing all season, getting you back in the game, putting you in a spot to win. And then we keep having boneheaded decisions by our head coach, Mike Zimmer. Literally, it's sad violin music. It's totally ridiculous. I think the Vikings went for 2 or 3 2-point attempts in this comeback, right? Well, if you didn't do that and you took the extra point, then ultimately when Kirk Cousins makes that game-winning or that game-tying touchdown, now you're up by 7 and they can tie the game. And let alone, like, when you go back down the field on defense, you can't play zone defense like that with a minute left. I mean, and my biggest pet peeve is, like, watching Mike Zimmer coach this year is, like, I've caught on to the trend that the dicier calls that the other coach is making, the dicier calls that Mike Zimmer is going to make. And they're foolish, and they're not even, like, reasonable, dicey decisions. Like, I watched the Lions head coach go for 4th and 2 at their own 20-yard line with 4 minutes left in the game, I want to say. And then the Vikings, that's where they got the ball back and they scored, right? That's where they scored the touchdown. I mean, time and time again, we've watched this mediocre play calling on defense lose us games. And to anyone that's, like, putting these losses on Kirk Cousins, I'm sorry, you're dead wrong. Kirk Cousins has put this team on his back every single week, put us in a spot to win, drove us down the field when he was supposed to. Yes, he did make the one boneheaded move of being lined up wrong behind a guard instead of the center, which was stupid. And he knows that. But I can tell you one thing about Vikings fans is that's going to be the one thing that you're going to remember about our quarterback this season is that he lined up wrong one play when 99% of the season he literally put us in a spot to win or to get the kicker down the field where they need to be to take a game-winning field goal. This is completely ridiculous, right? It's super frustrating. I don't understand how Vikings fans can, like, put this on Kirk Cousins. It's truly ridiculous. The guy is having good numbers. He's having a good year. We have a head coaching problem. This is absolutely mind-boggling how Mike Zimmer still has a job at this point in the season. This team should be 10-1. That's my thought on the Vikings. And we lost. We gave a 0-10 team their first win. It's inexcusable. There's some things that got to happen with Mike Zimmer, and that's him walking out the door. And start looking for some interim head coaches, and then start hiring out for your, whether you look at your offensive coordinators, not Clint Kubiak because he's terrible. But what you could do is you could go look at guys like we talked about 2 weeks ago, like Eric Bieniemy, and so forth. So that's my thoughts on the Vikings currently. I mean, you can't one-on-one Justin Jefferson. He's going to burn you all week. So that's all I have on the Vikings right now for me. It was very disheartening to watch. I watched the whole game. But, not a fun week. And plus, it was a division game, so now it's really killed our playoff hopes. We're still in the hunt, but, I mean, you might as well not even go in because you're just going to be a first-round exit if you make it.
All right, well, Joe Brady just became a free agent.
I like it.
The Panthers just cut him. I say bring him in. He's not a head coach, but bring him in, offensive coordinator.
I'm for it at this point.
Yeah. Let's see. Chargers, on the other hand, we got the dub. It's been a shaky season. It's been a shaky season as the Chargers. We had the Bengals, of course. That's the team that everyone wanted to see. It's the future of the league. It's Joe Burrow versus Justin Herbert.
That was a big matchup that me and Robbie talked about, actually.
It was a fun game to watch. We definitely gave Joe Burrow a run for his money.
Mm-hmm.
Banged him up a little bit. Shook him up. We let him know we're not here to play.
He did the whole shake, rattle, and roll on him,
We hurt his pinky. His pinky's not having it right now.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert looking like an all-star, slanging it like he wanted to be slanging it. He had a couple turnovers. He's been struggling with that all season, but hey, he's young. He's young. Yeah. 6'5", 240 pounds. The dude's a monster.
Good quarterback, too.
Love my quarterback. Austin Eckler, I said it earlier in the season when we started recording. I'm not sold. I was like, I don't think we should pay the guy. Just give the man his money. That dude can run. Dude can get bounce around, get hit left and right, and he still finds the end zone.
Pay him.
Love me some Austin Eckler.
Pay that man.
Pay them. Changing my opinion on him. Pay the man.
Yeah,
He got a solid squad.
I think you guys got a bright future with the Chargers.
Great future.
I think you do.
But it's shaky. They did have that second quarter comeback. They were down 24-0. They ended up bringing it close to us. So defense still has room for improvement, and give one defensive-minded coach an offseason to pick up some draft picks and address the situations that he should. I think we'll be okay in the future.
Speaking of the future of our teams and players, there's something that's changing the future of the NFL and like how things are going to operate and how we're going to manage our fantasy rosters. And obviously that's COVID-19. It's a really tough thing to balance health-wise already. And then you look into everything else like it goes into with football, with like everybody either getting a vaccination for it or not getting vaccinated, and that being like in the public media. But this is starting to impact a lot of things now. Mark Ingram and a bunch of the other players were close contacts, so now the Saints are kind of on like some COVID protocols, COVID protocol issues. I know I lost a couple of players last week on my Dynasty Junior League to COVID protocols, as per usual with that league. That league just hated me this year. It's been a crazy thing. What are your thoughts on like how COVID? Here we are, a whole season later after last year, and we talked about like, well, is COVID going to go away? Is it going to stick around? Here we are a year later, and this is still impacting the games that we're watching and the players that are going to be on the field and or off the field because of it. What are your thoughts on this? Like, is it like just general thoughts and question on like COVID-19's impact on the NFL at this point?
Oh, I think it sucks, but it's something that we're gonna have to learn how to work around. It's not going away.
Yep.
It is what it is. Unfortunately, you have to play by the rules. You want to play for the NFL, you got to play by the NFL's rules, and what they say, has to go. But it doesn't matter what your opinion on it is. If these athletes want to play for the NFL, if you don't like it, stop watching. We have to stop watching the NFL. But I love the product of the sport, and unfortunately for people whose opinions clash, it is what it is. You want to play when you want to watch the NFL. This is the product. This is the rules that we have to play by. And it's, as far as fantasy, like plan ahead.
Yeah, have depth. For me, it's like working in the healthcare field with all this, with my job. There's a whole lot of COVID issues kind of coming into play there too. So it's a really strange thing to deal with at work, and then like when you're watching these games, like all the talk about it, like it seems like I just can't get away from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
like you're like, oh man, I just want to watch a football game, but the harsh reality of it is this strain of COVID is lethal, and it's hurting people and it's killing people, and it's sad. And like anyone that watches the show or listens knows that like neither one of us is like very political people. Like we're not gonna that we don't get into that stuff. You know what I mean? But like I have friends and coworkers and people that I know that I just know like that don't want to get vaccines and that do want to get that are vaccinated, and I respect both sides of it. Like if they don't want it, then I get it. If they got it, then I get it. Like I'm vaccinated. I got my 2 shots. Soon to get a booster type thing.
Yep.
And I feel great. I feel fine. But when it's came to like the issues with COVID-19 in the NFL, it's been a difficult thing. It's became like some very trying issues and subjects that have really kind of like caused some issues and ruffled some feathers, I would say. Aaron Rodgers at the beginning of the season said that he got vaccinated.
Immunized
immunized or something like that. Yeah, I think he said he was immunized, which made a joke about it. And then, we get all the way through the season. Well, turns out that wasn't true. So kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, well, you've told the public media that you got this, and then you made a joke about it, So it's kind of one of those things where, like, this is their job at this point. Should there have been more of a suspension? Maybe. I don't know. Like, it's a really complicated thing, but, like, even with this week now, the Saints are battling some COVID stuff. So it's just kind of it's something to keep on the radar, especially not just for your health, which is the main issue, but for your, fantasy football wise, like John was saying, plan ahead. Make sure you got depth, as I was saying, and good luck, because this isn't going to go anywhere. So as much as we want it to go away, plan ahead. But that's like all I had on that. It wasn't much of anything other than just that, if you got Saints players, check your rosters, keep a close eye on them, because you might lose somebody to that COVID-19 protocol list. Let's get into a lighter subject after that one, though, just to transition over to it. So everybody loves football, loves to watch Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football and Thursday Night Football. Not really Thursday Night Football, but it's there. Saturday games, no one really likes, but they're coming up because of the playoffs. But let's talk about this new dynamic that we're getting with the Monday Night Football Manning cast. I am interested to hear like what your thoughts are on this. I canceled all my cable services just because it's ridiculously expensive, right? So I think that for me, I like the Manning cast. I think it's way more fun, and like the way I just worded it on SportsMe is, if you guys, SportsMe is an app you can give sports takes and talk with your friends and other fantasy football people in the world that have their own content, and give sports takes and award points and possibly win some money with daily cash giveaways. But I the way I worded it was, when I'm watching the Manning cast, I feel like I'm sitting down with two other guys that just like to watch football but really know their stuff. And, like, there's no terrible commentary from some of these awful guys that we got to listen to, that, they just put a suit on and they just talk in a booth and they're not even good at their job. I don't know how they're still there. I'm not going to name names. But openly outside of this podcast, you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. I love the Manning cast. I think it's much better than the regular one, and I'm grateful for it. What are your thoughts on it, John?
I like it. Sometimes there are guests where I really don't care for or don't care about their opinions, so I'll tune out of that. But when it's just them two, can home run.
Yeah,
occasionally they get a guest on that I'm a fan of, and I get to tune in for that. It's not for everybody. It's not for every game, but there are times where I do like to put that on, where I prefer to watch it.
Right. I think my favorite guest they've had on is probably Kevin Hart. That was pretty fun. When he was bringing his Philadelphia Eagles dynamic to it and talking smack to Eli. Obviously, him being the quarterback of the Giants for a long time. It was really fun to watch, actually. So,
who do you think is better of the two?
Of the two on the Manning cast?
As far as for TV.
Oh, for TV purposes?
Yeah.
I think Peyton's born for TV.
I think Eli is more bought into this thought of this is for TV.
Yeah.
Peyton's like, this is what I do. This is me just talking football. I see
Uh-huh.
Eli is really going for it. Like, I'm trying to make this thing happen.
I can see it. I can see that side of it too. Man, Peyton's just so funny, and we've always known Peyton's a funny guy. Like I'm happy about it.
The understanding of X's and O's is fun though. It's really cool insight to see when they break down plays and break down how things should have gone. I'm like, oh, awesome. Didn't know that.
Sorry guys, here. We'll hiccup here.
Overall, enjoy it. Would recommend.
So let's go into what Papa Squat was really wanting us to get into earlier.
Who?
The
Scummy Pats.
Let's talk about the Scummy Pats. Nah, we don't hate the Patriots anymore. Mac Jones and the Patriots are on a 7-game win streak. They just defeated the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo in a very windy condition.
Big flexing. He didn't have to throw the ball. He didn't even have to throw the ball to win the game.
His stat line, I believe, was 2 passes for 2 completions for 3 attempts in the second half, and they won. That's crazy, dude. Like, Damian Harris ripped off a big run at the beginning of the game.
That was monstrous.
And it just seemed like it never stopped. The Bills' defense couldn't get off the field.
No.
Ultimately, it's kind of what it seemed like. So, I don't know. The Patriots are a very dangerous team right now, and I think that they're rolling. So, they're going to be a dangerous playoff team for anyone who plays them. I think Bill Belichick and Mac Jones are finally on the right stride for like what they're searching for in this team, and I'm happy about that. I think that it's going to be fun to watch this team in the playoffs. They're going to have a star-studded roster, it looks like, in the future. He's building up this dynasty again. So, why don't you give me your thoughts on the Patriots here?
Pats are a scary sight to see. I hate to admit it, but they're back. Took a season off, and all of a sudden, this Pats team is back in the playoffs. Not just back in the playoffs, but they're first in their division. Mac Jones is having a great year. Statistics-wise, not the greatest, but I mean he's accurate. He's not turning the ball over. I have him in fantasy for our dynasty league where I have to keep him for the next 10 years, and it's exciting. I mean, yeah, he went 2 for 3, missed, had a terrible game, went in negative numbers. I still won, by the way. But regardless, you hate to see his stat line like that, but the dude is going to be a winner in this league. This is kind of giving you an intro into like the breakdown of the HBO Man in the Arena type of thing for later.
Mm-hmm.
But they put it in this perspective. Like, what made Tom Brady great early was that Bill Belichick was a genius on the defense. He was telling Tom Brady what triggers the defense, what frustrates the defense, what in this defense, what's their weakness? What's their weakness? What should you be looking for? So a defensive-minded coach, a defensive genius, and Bill Belichick, with and the willingness to learn and be great from Brady, it made for a dangerous quarterback. Just, I know how to dissect this defense. I may not be the most powerful, the most accurate, or the most agile, but I know your weakness.
Bill Belichick's crazy smart, dude. Like I have mad respect for how smart he is. And like I know a lot of people can like sit there and be like, "Oh, well, this and this and this and asterisk this and that," because I used to be that guy. But like ultimately, here's my like final thought on all those issues is you can't tell me that there isn't other teams in the league doing it, because I won't believe you. And then on top of it, I felt like when Belichick did it, it was like the first time that it was done type thing. So it was like it was in this weird gray area where like there's normally black and white, you know what I mean? But like it was like there's a gray area where like he was able to get away with it because he was smarter than everybody else. And I mean, you could like factor it into like baseball and everything else too, like with the banging of the trash cans and talking about what pitches are going to be doing. So that's kind of like the crazy thing and how it works. So 2 seconds here. Sorry.
There you go. Yeah, I think that what made Tom Brady great was the willingness to learn, and then I don't expect it to be much different for Belichick with Mac Jones. He's not the most agile, but it's a spitting image. It's a similar situation. You have to relieve the boots. You have to relieve the cleats of a greater quarterback before you. Not saying that Mac Jones is going to have a better career, but who knows? As long as Belichick is coaching, he's going to be solid. As long as Belichick wants to have this kid under his wing, Mac Jones is going to be solid in this league for years to come. Let's see. Next, let's see.
Okay.
I think, Mike, you wanted to start talking about running back issues, right? Well, if anything, I'll get started with it. You want to talk about running back issues? Miles Sanders, man. Miles Sanders has been a headache, a thorn in my side all season. I did acquire him from you in a trade, but it was a fair trade at that. Fair trade. Miles Sanders has been putting up like the most inconsistent season as a fantasy owner. This is someone I don't want to keep. At the same time, he's too young. He's got a lot of promise, and then he's young. He's a young running back. But all season, three weeks he's put up zeros. His best performance since week 1 was 17 points. As a franchise running back, I don't think I could have that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, my dog was.
Look at that sad Miles Sanders. That's how I feel every week with him.
My dog was throwing up for some strange reason, and everything was just kind of falling apart there for a second, guys. So that not technical difficulties, but like family difficulties. Yeah, I think my final thoughts on the Patriots is Bill Belichick is just a smart coach. He knows he is. It's like giving the keys to Lamborghini right now with Mac Jones and Bill Belichick. Like they're rolling right now, and seeing Damian Harris roll with Mac Jones, who he's been friends with for a long time. It's kind of cool to actually see that they get to do this together and live this dream together. Actually, in terms of Miles Sanders, I got rid of him off my roster because he was causing some issues. And then you look at other rosters. For running back, now Derrick Henry's hurt. Adrian Peterson's a Seattle Seahawk.
The second team
this
scored
year.
A touchdown with, yeah.
Don't like that. And then you got Dontre Hillard now. It sounds like he's going to be the guy in Tennessee at running back because obviously of Derrick Henry's absence. Rashad Penny, we can't figure that guy out in Seattle, and Dave Montgomery's back in Chicago, but they had so much going on at running back. It's wild to try and figure out where to go with running backs right now. I mean, Tevin Coleman's in concussion protocol. Ezekiel Elliott is regressing massively. Tony Pollard is kicking up. Like this is it's very confusing at this point in time. The position of running back and fantasy rosters. James Robinson, what's his future in Jacksonville? Like, it's very difficult. And like as I'm talking about it right now, Dave Montgomery not practicing today, like DNP on a Wednesday, not a good sign, guys. So this whole season at running back is just wildly dumb. DeAndre Swift with a shoulder injury. There's a lot going on here, and it's hard to track all of it. So it's not just hard to track for people like that don't that want to listen to us and like take our advice. It's hard for us too, right? This is hard, like at running back. As we said, Myles Gaskin, like what's your future with him? Like that question's up in the air everywhere right now on so many running backs. You know, like where do I go? Why do I go here? Like how long is this guy going to be healthy? Dalvin Cook, you know, out with the shoulder strain. Why not just keep playing Alexander Madison right now? CMC is done for the year. Saquon Barkley, how long is he going to be healthy? Like it's tough. So they're going to continue. But on the opposite side of this coin, we're seeing some guys get healthy near the end of the season. And we're seeing guys like George Kittle and Rob Gronkowski just starting to like get back in their offenses now. Deebo Samuel went down for the 49ers. So it's kind of one of those things now where, you know, Kittle's going to get his looks. He just had a 39-point week in fantasy last week. Gronk had a 22 or 21-point week last week. These guys are starting to tear it up. So they're getting integrated into their offenses effectively. And, I mean, obviously it's Gronk and George Kittle too, so that helps when they're healthy. And your team's a lot better.
Seems better with them than without.
Much better than without. So, is there any other players that you've noticed are getting healthy that could be like game changers, John?
I don't know about getting healthy. Not off the bat. I just want to, shout out for Devonta Freeman really coming out of nowhere this season, being reliable. A reliable running back is hard to find, especially mid-season where Devonta Freeman came on the scene. Who would have thought that their most productive running back for the season was going to be Devonta Freeman when all the injuries, the Le'Veon Bell coming into the mix, he's not even on the team anymore. Just want to shout out to Devonta Freeman for showing up this season.
Yeah, he's doing really well. It's fun to watch actually because I like Devonta Freeman. I liked him when he was with the Falcons. I think that he's a good running back. Ultimately he kind of came out of nowhere, and I'm trying to get him in a trade because in one league we don't have a trade deadline. We voted on it, and nobody wanted a trade deadline. So right now I'm trying to get him because I'm decimated at running back in that league between Tevin Coleman, Myles Gaskin, and somebody else at my roster that's not very good. So, that's kind of a wild situation that I got going on there. So let's kind of, I know it was kind of like a shorter, it's going to be a shorter recording, per se, but let's look at a few things. Leonard Fournette's been tearing it up, Callisto. Good answer. Good.
It's playoff. He's playoff Lenny right now.
Playoff Lenny. He's Lombardi Lenny right now, man.
It's nice to have him though. I mean, late in the season, that's when he's barely starting to catch fire, and he's showing up big
time. Like,
we'll take it.
I'll take it. 100%.
Yeah, we'll take it. Late in the season, that's when it counts. That's where we're here. That's why we have him.
Speaking of good things that I'll take is some really good media. Like I love good shows and good documentaries. That's what I'm into. So if you guys haven't checked out HBO Hard Knocks, you should be checking this out. It's really good. I watched and I don't like the Cowboys at all, but I watched the HBO Hard Knocks on the Cowboys, and it was solid. Like it was really well done. I found some workout music from it that was really good. Just overall, just like watching this documentary on the inside of what it's like at these training camps and everything was very interesting to actually listen to and hear when they were, the week of cuts and everything, and like, how these guys don't know if they're going to make it to like the next day or the next week. And like, I just think I appreciate the perspective it gives us of like actually like how much of a not cush job playing football for a living is, because these guys have to be sharp as a tack for the things that they're learning and they're doing on the field, and reading and monitoring the defense and monitoring like what's changing in a play and a split second notice. Like that's what I've noticed. Like what are some of the things that you've picked up on
in Hard Knocks? I love Hard Knocks. I've been watching Hard Knocks pretty heavy since a kid. I love it though. I just love it. Like you get to the behind the scenes, the day to day, especially in the off season. This new in season Hard Knocks with the Colts is a little different for me. I feel a little indifferent about the in season version of it, but the off season one, I do like watching how the roster changes, how they'll be trailing that just this new guy who came onto the scene, and how he has to make the cut. That this final cut, is his life. Like if either he makes it or breaks it, this is his well being. I like watching the veteran presences on teams, how they really motivate a locker room, how they are the voice of these teams, and but at the same time, but it kind of humanizes these superstars that they're relatable. They're just people that like to go home to their families at the end of the day. It's cool. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm excited to watch the Colts episodes because obviously I want to see what it's like for Carson over in Indy.
So there's my thing with in season Hard Knocks. It's different. Like you see a little more behind the scenes of how they go with the injuries, going to recovery, how they got to switch the playbook, how they just adapt to the next playbook. They adapt to the next team so quickly. Like it's really like in the past now. The minute that game is over, it's already preparation for the next game. But I mean, with in season, if I don't feel as bad if I miss a week because I can just if I miss an episode, I can just see how they're gonna do on Sunday. Yeah, so it's a little indifferent for me for Hard Knocks in season.
The other one that I really like, and I've seen the trailers for it and stuff. I just haven't had time to watch any of it on ESPN Plus. Is The Man in the Arena, and it's the documentary on Tom Brady, and what his career has been and what it's like now being in the Buccaneers, and what his experience over in New England for 20 years was. So I haven't gotten to watch any of it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that one, John?
All right, so I started this series a couple days ago. Been hearing a lot of good things about it. It's kind of built the hype, a little of Michael Jordan's Last Dance. It's got that kind of production value. Very well done. What I like, I've seen the first two episodes. It starts off how he got the starting job in the Patriots, how he left Michigan, got drafted, his whole draft story. Or on the second episode where he goes to his first Super Bowl and loses, um,
Mm-hmm.
or the Patriots season before he got there, and then they bring you back to '02 when they play the Rams and he gets his first Super Bowl victory.
Right.
You see the behind the scenes asking his teammates about his opinion on him, Willie McGinnis, you know, the about how Tom Brady transitioned from the replacement to now captain, a leader on this team.
Right.
He followed the veterans and he just really wanted to get better at being a team leader, and the veterans respected that, and now he's become the voice of the team wherever he goes. Clearly, this next episode, I think we're going on into they just won the Super Bowl. Now he has a little more stardom. How are you going to balance that?
Right.
Being Hollywood. So it's a good series. If you love well produced documentaries, I'm really big into giving these superstar athletes their appreciation while they're still here on Earth. I feel it's a damn shame sometimes that we don't get to tell these great athletes how special they are, give them their roses while they're still with us on this Earth.
Yeah, I think
I do appreciate when we do get to celebrate them while they're still with us.
Yeah, I think that's like a really big thing because sometimes you have like these moments where like an athlete or a musician has like impacted your life in a certain way and you're like, man, like this really drove me to be a better person or like to really push harder to be more successful in life. And they don't get to hear that because like you said, they might have like maybe they don't function the way they used to. Like I met Tommy Kramer, and that was kind of an interesting experience where he has someone that kind of talks for him. So that was interesting, but I got an autograph from him, and it was really cool. But then you have situations where it's like it's the same thing where musicians, like I've went up to some musicians in person and like just like told them like my story on how their music impacted my life in certain ways. So it's super cool to see that, and like I love that they're doing this documentary on Tom Brady now versus rather than later. I mean, he is. There's no argument. He is the best to play this game at quarterback. Like, and I laugh when people compare all the other guys next to him. But it's not comparable. Tom Brady went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who Jameis had a long time, and couldn't get the job done. Couldn't go win a championship. And in 1 year, Tom Brady goes there with new coaches, new players, new playbooks, and goes and wins a Super Bowl. And that's wild to me, right? So I think it's crazy. I love that he's getting respect when it's due and where it's due, and it's nice because you get to see a different side of Tom Brady, sitting down and being humble and being like, I never expected my career to go this far. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, if you have it's on ESPN Plus, but if you do have a sec, it's on episode 4 or 5, where he has to talk about his first Super Bowl loss to Eli Manning.
Yeah.
And there was a good little cutscene where he's like, I lost us that Super Bowl. I was like, no, he didn't say that. I'm excited. I gotta go back and watch it.
I'll have to watch that now. Another thing you guys are gonna want to watch, and we'll end the show with this week, is Tommy Fury backed out of the fight with Jake Paul. So now we're getting the second fight between Tyron Woodley and Jake Paul. Like, obviously, I see some head shaking going on there, and that's why I wanted to bring this up because it's kind of a fun subject. I think here's my thought on it. I think Jake Paul has done a lot to bring some attention to the sport of boxing again. I think he's helping get more eyes on the sport. I always thought boxing was kind of a dying sport. I was really excited to see that Jake was going to fight like a real boxer in Tommy Fury, and not an older UFC fighter or like a retired basketball player or anything like that. And Jake's talked about that. But like Tyron Woodley's a really good striker, and people forget that. So I think that I don't think Tyron Woodley's a pushover fight by any means at all. The age is there on Tyron Woodley, and his chin isn't what it isn't what it used to be. But the last fight was kind of fun to watch. My buddies were over, we were watching it, and I think Jake Paul trains really hard. I think he wants to do a lot for getting these boxers paid or these UFC fighters paid. He is creating his own company to like really focus on payroll for fighters and trying to get these guys the right wages for what they do. And I think that there's a lot of good that's coming from Jake Paul doing this, and a lot of positive attention. And I think that Jake Paul is growing up. Like, I watched a few of his interviews with the fight change this week. I think, obviously, I'm probably going to say Jake Paul's going to win the fight again because sometimes I feel like these things are scripted. But, if they're not, they're not. I would like to see Tyron Woodley win the second one and then have them go round 3. Where do you think this fight goes? Are you happy about it? Like, is this the fight that you would want to watch?
Fight I'm not going to watch, I'll be honest. Jake Paul probably does win it. But you're right. There is some good. You put in perspective about the fighters getting paid, what they deserve to get paid. You hear a lot of stories about these organizations not paying these fighters, and Jake Paul's putting money in their pocket, as well as his. The name Jake Paul sells. I can't hate on him. Yeah, make your money, kid. Do
you think him or his brother's a better boxer? Do you think Logan or Jake is better?
I think Jake Paul's a better boxer.
I'm gonna say Logan. I think Logan's I think Logan's a little bit of a better boxer. Granted,
They're big.
They're big boys.
Kids.
They're both very. They're training their asses off. No two ways about it.
They're professionally trained. These guys are certified in the boxing. I've seen their records. They're real boxers.
Yeah, I'm not going to be one of those guys that says, "Oh, you're not a real boxer" type thing.
I think didn't one of them or both of them wrestle as well?
I don't know. I have no idea if they wrestled or not. That's a good question. So with that being said, guys, I just want to say thanks to everyone who came in and listened. Sorry for the disruptions and interruptions. My dog's not feeling too well. Thanks to John for taking over and doing his thing when I had to kind of disappear for a little bit there. And I did listen to you while you were.
I know your Wi-Fi, your wireless headsets.
Yeah, I was listening to everything you said. But we appreciate it. Just a few quick shout-outs, and then we will close out the episode. So I just want to say thanks to Raise Energy. If you guys click that link in the chat or on the About panels, you get 15% off on your order at checkout using code TheAvengeNerd, all caps. It is pre-workouts, energy drinks and cans or to-go packets, and they have protein powders, and they have intra-workouts, post-workouts, all sorts of stuff for you. And they have some pretty sweet merch. If you guys like coffee, check out Player One Coffee. It's video game-based themed coffees from light to dark roasts. They have like first-person smoother, Leroy Jenkins, and a bunch of other flavors, along with a subscription box that you can sign up to. You'll get, I think it's 5 to 10% off with that link in the chat, or also in the About panels. So you can also click that, and you'll get 5 to 10% off at your order at checkout. Same code, TheAvengeNerd. And then if you guys are podcast or stream yourself, check out Nerd or Die, where I get all my layouts and transitions. And I make some of my own GIFs and all that stuff for it. But if you select that link, you get 20% off at your at checkout again. So I want to say thanks again for another great week. Good luck in your final weeks if you're contingent on a win to go get into playoffs, and let us know how it goes. If you have any questions, hit both of us up. You can find me at Twitter at NerdAvenge, on Instagram TheAvengeNerd2020. You can ask away. We'll answer the best of our abilities. John, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter as well. It's gonna be at the xsauce_. You can find me on Twitter. Hit me up. I'll gladly answer any questions you have. You can find me here. You can find me here recording with my boy Mike. Every chance we get, at least once a week, Tuesday, Wednesdays kind of work best for us, but we'll get it down.
Consistency's coming. So
yeah, that's right.
So thanks again, guys, and good luck this week in your fantasy endeavors, and appreciate you listening. See you later.